Hi Curious, and welcome back. You might know her as one of the biggest and oldest fashion icons in the world right now, and despite the fact that she became famous by accident, the name Iris Apfel is known to many. And even if the name doesn't ring a bell, you surely will recognize this 100-year-old lady with her large glasses and colorful outfits, often accessorized with many bracelets and necklaces. The lady that never stops, and who most recently for her 100th birthday teamed up with H&M to create a brand new collection. But how did this self-called geriatric starlet become famous? Why has she been known in the White House as the First Lady of Fabric? And what records does she hold? And what are some of her most important life lessons? Stay with us until the very end to find out about one of New York City's biggest fashion icons, but before we continue, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our daily videos. In the world of fashion, Iris Apfel stands out for many reasons, and her bright, eye-catching outfits are not necessarily the reason for it. And first of all, at 100 years old, she is much older than other fashionists combined. Secondly, unlike them, she had never actually wanted to become a fashion icon, which happened accidentally, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But to get where she is now, she never bought any Instagram followers, hired public relations agencies, or stylists. She never caused any scandals, and at the top dressed lists are the ultimate sleep aid for her. And if you want to know more about another fashion icon who was favored in New York high society, and you can do so by clicking on the link above. But for now, let's get to know this colorful icon a little bit better. She was born Iris Beryl in Queens of New York City on August 29th of 1921, and as the only child of Samuel Beryl and his Russian-born wife Sadie, who owned a fashion boutique. Being an only child, she was often brought along by her parents to family events where she was the only kid, and to entertain Iris, her grandmother let her play with fabric scraps, and recalling those memories in her book Accidental Icon, she talked about how the different fabrics in all shapes and sizes had made her eyes pop, and thanks to this, she became obsessed with textures, colors, and patterns, which in turn helped her career. As a young woman, she studied art history at the New York University and later attended art school at the University of Wisconsin. In 2011, she later returned to college, but at that time she became a visiting professor at the University of Texas at Austin in its division of textiles and apparel after, so working as a copywriter for Women's Wear Daily, earning $15 a week, as well as work as an assistant or an illustrator to Robert Goodman. So before we continue to talk about her business that saw her become a frequent visitor at the White House, let's talk a bit about her husband. In February of 1948, Iris married Carl Apfel, and the couple never had any children because, as she would later reveal in interviews, they were too busy working on their business and traveling around the world, and the fashion icon never wanted her children to be raised by nannies. And where children are concerned, she also revealed that it's something like protocol and expected of women, and she doesn't like to be pigeonholed. The two were married for 68 years until his passing on August 1st of 2015, just 3 days before his 101st birthday. Though while Carl, whom Iris to this day calls the love of her life, was still alive, the two launched a textile firm, Old World Weavers, in 1950, which ran until 1992. And over her career, Apfel took part in a variety of design restoration projects, but without a shadow of doubt, one of her most talked about ones was her work at the White House. Until they shut their company down, they did work for 9 White House administrations from Harry Truman to Bill Clinton, and during her time working at the presidential residence, Iris earned the nickname First Lady of Fabric, or Our Lady of the Cloth. And talking about her contact with the White House, Apfel had said that it was the easiest one among all of the company's clients, as they generally only wanted to replicate what had previously been in place. And though she did say that there was one expectation to it, that was when Jacqueline Kennedy was in office. And speaking in an interview with The Guardian, she said she employed a very famous Parisian designer to gussy up the house and make it real Frenchy, and the design community went bananas. And after that, we had to throw it all out and start again. Though, as she also revealed, she liked Mrs. Nixon, as she thought the then president's wife was lovely. Though as we're going to talk about the world of fashion and Apfel's success, why not check out our new channel CURIOSIPS WOW to find out the dark secrets of the industry, and you can do so by clicking on the link above. But for now, make sure you stay with us until the very end to find out how even at 100 years old, this lady keeps on grinding. Prior to her accidentally becoming famous, would see her on the New York streets and ask who that woman was, and despite being a fixture in New York's most coveted parties, Apfel was completely anonymous outside of the elite circle. But a coincidence changed all of that. Back in spring of 2005, her friend Stephanie Hugh Towner, who was the curator at the Metropolitan Museum of Art's New York Costume Institute, had a plant exposition fall through. Despite being heartbroken over the fact that he was quick on his feet and remembered that his friend Iris had one of the largest jewelry collections in the United States, and one phone call later, and the matter was settled. The exposition started with jewelry, but then Stephanie added dozens of Apfel's outfits to it, and thus Rara Avis, the selection from the Iris Barrel Apfel collection, was created. And it was a huge success, and for several years the rare bird collection would travel all over the country, and visitors loved it as they had never seen anything like that before, and in interviews Iris had revealed that she would often attend the exposition. However, following the exhibition, suddenly Iris was not only famous but also incredibly busy. First, she featured in a featured story in American Vogue, and then by dozens of magazines all over the world. So as you can see, Curious, soon Apfel became known all over the world. And then many outlets would report that the then 84-year-old had made old very sexy. But she didn't just sit back and enjoy the fame. Oh no. In between interviews, photo shoots, and fashion shows, Iris decorated exhibitions in the exclusive Berghoff Goodman department store, and designed her own collection for a television store, taught at the university, and many other projects, about some of which we'll talk about now. As she herself wrote in her book, her first big job in beauty and in fashion came when she was at the tender age of 90, and it was then the collaboration with the makeup company MAC Cosmetics for whom she developed a limited edition collection for the winter of 2011. And talking about it, she had said, "I'm the oldest living broad that ever graced a major cosmetics campaign." And that very same year, she had also debuted on the Home Shopping Network with her own jewelry line that, just like her, was large and colorful and was called Rara Avis. And she had also released her own line of oversized glasses, which over the years had become her trademark. Many had also stated that such a colorful and unique person deserved to grace the big screen, and that came to be true in 2014 when the famed documentary filmmaker Albert Maysles created a documentary about Apfel, and that focused on the last 3 years of her life from 90 to 93, and which was titled simply Iris. And in 2017 it was nominated for and won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Arts and Culture Documentary. But it's not just the world of fashion that Apfel has made her name. She has also made her name into mainstream fame to having been made into one-of-a-kind Barbie in 2018. However, the doll that was made into the likeness of the icon has not been made for sale. But in the fall of that very same year, Mattel had released 2 styled by Iris Apfel Barbies. And a fun fact for you curious, according to the media reports, she's the oldest living person to have a Barbie doll made to her likeness. And all those years of work had paid off, as according to the celebrity net worth, through her work, she has amassed a nice sum of money of $25 million to be exact, and at the age of 97, she has signed with IMG Models. Many often wonder how this 100-year-old star has kept up with all the craziness of life that has happened in the past several years, especially given her advanced age. And that is something that Iris has often talked about, and she simply says that she just never thinks about her age as a number, and she just found that it was healthy for her to be that way. And she has also revealed that people shouldn't pretend that they are younger than they are in reality. In an interview, she once said, "When you're 75 and you get a facelift, nobody's going to think you're 30. And even now as she turned 100, her age does not define her, and in a recent interview she called herself the world's oldest teenager, and she also does not allow her age to slow her down and to celebrate becoming a centenarian, and she has released a collection in collaboration with H&M that is set to hit shelves in the spring of 2022, and that will include an assortment of clothing and accessories created with Iris's bold sense of style, designed for all ages and sizes. She had even celebrated the momentous occasion with a star-studded celebration at Central Park Tower that included the live-action Little Mermaid star Halle Bailey, and about whom we also have an episode to the link which is being currently displayed above, Katie Holmes, as well as Donna Karan, the founder of the label DKNY, among others. And many internet users had commented on the occasion that Apfel looks really good for her age. So curious, what do you think about Iris Apfel? Did you know that she spent so many years working for the White House? And what do you think of her style? Do you also think that she looks good for her age? And are you looking forward to her H&M collection? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time!